Kick, caught. Oh, big knee.
What's up, guys?
And now it's Cage with Komander in the corner.
Thought much like last week, we go ahead and watch the end of ROH together.
What does Brian Cage have in mind? Whatever it is, he has to do it quick.
Uh-oh. Ooh.
Slip right through.
Very smart. Go for the legs. This has been a good match so far. This is Brian Cage versus Komander, which I didn't want to see this soon because I knew we could get a fire match out of them, so I would have preferred more build. But
this is what Komander needs. Up top.
Woo! That was pretty. Oh. See, and like that's another reason I wish this match didn't happen now, because Brian Cage just won the title last week. So in my mind, there's no way he's losing it now. Also, let's be real, they don't actually have ROH title changes on ROH TV. Oh, that's such a pretty move. Woo! He's kicking out of that. He's gonna. Oh. He's machining out of it. Ooh. Nasty. Woo. Nasty. Yo. Okay. I don't know how Wardlow can come back with Brian Cage throwing power bombs like that. And the F10 to boot. Jesus Christ. Brian Cage is everything that Wardlow was or was supposed to be. Good God, that was an explosive finish. I'll tell you, Brian Cage's power bombs really remind you how painful that shit is. Like the sound of it, it reminds you that there's wood on as the floor. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to forget as you just see a wrestling ring, but those fucking power bombs sounded so fucking painful. And that's it. Brian Cage successfully defends. That's our main event. With that said, let's get right into the show, shall we?
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not just smart, they heal Mars. They're not just smart, they heal Mars. They're not just smart, they heal Mars. They're not just smart, they heal Mars.
Ladies and gentlemen, fans and friends, I am back once again. This is Brady from the Heel Marks, one half of the Heel Marks. I am the custodian of charisma. I am the ophthalmologist of optimism, and I am here to give you guys your weekly dose of Mark of Honor, everybody's favorite Ring of Honor after show, talking about what we just saw in the October 24th edition of Ring of Honor. Now, I'll tell you this, I did not hate this show at all. They only gave us a few matches. Let's do final total. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches total. And 1 in-ring segment. So I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. It flowed nicely. I still am not a fan of the classic ROH match, as we'll refer to it, where they just kind of pick one match, throw it in the show. I did appreciate for some reason that there was more left than just the main event. I don't exactly know why. It was clearly the two most important things left to happen were what was happening after after that that recap match, that classic match was played. I'm not really sure why. I enjoyed it. I appreciated that it happened sooner. I don't really get it, if I'm being honest. I'm not a fan of the concept as a whole, and I feel like there's plenty of talent on the ROH roster, on the AEW roster, that would benefit from backstage segments, that would benefit from promo time, that would benefit from a highlight reel. There's just so many things you can do with ROH TV time, using it to show us a match. And I think, once again, this is the main reason I think it offends me, is the fact that the 100% of the people watching this pay for ROH.com or watch ROH.com, whatever it is. So 100% of the people that you are choosing to show a classic ROH match to can watch that match whenever they want. For all you know, I was using my time during the day to watch ROH, and I just watched this match. You don't know that. There's a chance, though. There's not a chance that if you give me original content, I would have seen it before. Anyway, on to the original content they gave us. I really did enjoy it a lot. One thing I enjoyed was that everyone got entrances tonight. Almost everyone. But especially Viva Van. I feel like they always do this thing with her where they announce on Ring of Honor, the Twitter, the Instagram, whatever, they announce that she's having a match. And I always get excited when I see that earlier in the day, when I'm checking out what kind of matches we're getting, what the show looks like. I'll see that they announce her match. I'm like, okay, they're treating Viva Van like a star. And then she doesn't get an entrance. And it's just kind of like, oh my God, like you had me so excited, but boom, you're treating her like an enhancement talent instead of treating her like a member of the ROH roster and a true star that you've got access to. And here we go. Reina Isis versus Viva Van, both getting entrances. And that made me think, hey, Viva might take this. I think especially when we're talking about ROH, which, as I said, it's always this version of ROH TV. It has a very indie-rific feel, and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. But what I mean is, if you watch a show and you don't see somebody get an entrance, you have no reason to care. If they both get the entrance, like everyone does at an indie show, you never really know who's going to win, because they're both treated the exact same going in. Maybe one gets a better reaction, but you know what I mean as far as the way the company's presenting them. The no entrance just lets you know what the company thinks, and the company is the one booking this match. So, once again, I'm glad Viva Van got an entrance. I know it's a small thing, but for me, it's really not. It's a big thing. And for me, it really did affect the way I watched the match. This was one of the better matches, I'd say. They got a lot of time. It was second of the night. They got a lot of in-ring time, and I didn't really know who was going to win, especially because Reina is coming from another company. She does not have a contract with ROH or AEW, to my knowledge. She's one of the other companies are sending her over here, and yeah, some of them get sent over, and ROH does everything they can to make them look good. But some of them come here and they put over the ROH talent. It has happened plenty of times before in ROH and AEW. So I really didn't know which way this was going to go. I enjoyed the work of both. And I hope we see Reina back, and I hope we see Viva Van continue to be featured heavily on the show, and hopefully get some wins under her belt. I'm going to pop for that first win, much like John Cruz popped last week for seeing his name on the screen. Question to you guys: did you guys pop when you saw Layla Hirsch? I did. It was a mini pop. I'm not going to act like I jumped out of my seat, but I did. There was definitely a mini pop for me when I saw Layla Hirsch on the screen, only because it reminded me why we haven't seen her in so long. And the truth is, with Ring of Honor, they really do just kind of allow you to forget about people. They just stop using them for 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, and there's no real explainable reason. It's not always because of an injury. It's not always because they're in another country. It's not always explained by anything other than ROH chose not to book them. They didn't come up in the creative meeting. So, you never really know. But this 100% reminded me, oh shit, that's right. Layla got hurt in that pay-per-view match that she won. Good to hear from her. Glad they gave her time. I think she comes across more authentic in this type of setting, kind of just hunched over in a chair, not even a comfortable looking chair, seemingly talking to a camera phone. It gave it a realer feel where she kind of was just flat out talking to us like, hey, listen, the badass is still here and the badass is trying to get back. Yeah, I got hurt, but don't let that make you forget that the last women to win that match, yeah, that was me. So I did enjoy hearing from Layla Hirsch, and I look forward to her coming back. It's just another reminder, and it's so funny because the ROH Women's TV Championship Tournament feels like it was a long time ago. It really wasn't. It was just earlier this year, and that tournament served as a great way to showcase how much talent they actually do have access to in Ring of Honor, how much great female talent they have. And so it's almost a shame they don't just flat out like Athena. Don't get me wrong, this is Athena's show. This has been for the second she chose to make it her show. But I would appreciate more Red Velvet presence on this show as well. She's the TV champion, the ROH TV champion, and it's a fresh belt. She's the second. And the truth is, the first TV champion had a fairly forgettable reign. The only reason it's okay is because, and we'll talk about it as we get to later tonight, but it certainly seems like ROH has big things in store for her. With Red Velvet and this TV title, she really does need every opportunity to set this reign apart from any other reign that comes before it in another title and comes after it in this title and any other. I just think every week that Red Velvet's not mentioned, that Red Velvet's not shown talking to us or wrestling for us is a waste. It does no favors for her title reign, and that is a waste. But once again, a great reminder of the talent that ROH has in the women's division. And yeah, look forward to seeing Layla Hirsch back. We got Lee Johnson and Big EJ making their tag team debut. Honestly, we've been waiting for this for a while, right? Because Lee Johnson and EJ, they first aligned, I want to say like a month, if not more ago. Like it feels like it was a while ago that happened. And maybe ROH hit pause only because, if memory serves me correctly, the foil to these guys was Jacoby Watts, who is hurt now. And so maybe they were like, okay, well, we have to put a pause on that. So hold on tight. And then they were like, all right, we're going to get you guys in the ring. We're going to get you an enhancement tag team and get you started there. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan of this tag team. I like this tag team. And given what is happening in the tag team division right now, I think there's a very good chance that this tag team might get pushed towards those tag team titles sooner than later. I don't know if ROH does it on purpose with these champions. I mean, in fact, let's talk briefly about the fact, and once again, during the watch along portion of the show, and for those of you who don't know, this is the second week in a row where I started it a little early. I think we caught the last minute or two of the main event. And so, I was doing commentary on that with you guys watching along. And I mentioned how, as much as I wanted to buy in to Komander, I'll talk about that a little more, but it was tough because on ROH TV, ROH titles don't actually change hand. And I even said last week that there's a very good chance we could get a new ROH champion this week on AEW Dynamite because of the fact that it's not happening on ROH TV, because it's happening on AEW. And sure enough, Chris Jericho beat Brian Cage last night. Chris Jericho is our new ROH champion. Do you think we'll ever see Chris Jericho on ROH TV? I highly doubt it. I can't imagine it. But at the same time, this is what I read. This is what the streets are saying. Streets are saying that a big proponent in Chris Jericho being chosen to win the ROH championship for the ninth, or not the ninth time, becoming the Nueve, whatever, but him becoming ROH champion again is because they are trying to get ROH a TV deal. ROH was not involved at all in the recent deal that Tony and AEW signed. ROH doesn't have a TV deal. They want to get ROH a TV deal. You'd think they'd just concentrate on making ROH TV better, but I think they just want bigger names that they can bring up in meetings that people might actually know. So Chris Jericho being ROH champion might help negotiations. I kind of wonder if that's the reason why a month back we got the random makeshift tag team champions of Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes. Maybe because Cody Rhodes is one of the biggest names in wrestling right now. That is, of course, elevating the Rhodes family name. And so maybe Tony's like, okay, I'll put Jericho as world champ. I've got Rhodes as tag team champ. So I wonder if that had something to do with it or if it had nothing to do with it. I'm curious. It's certainly something that could play a part, is all I'm saying. But back to Lee Johnson and EJ, I really did enjoy this tag team match. I really enjoyed this tag team. I've always been a fan of the big guys teaming with the small guys, the dudes with attitudes. I like the contrast. And I love the different things tag teams like that can do. These guys are clearly friends behind the scenes as well. So I do believe there's a good chance that we get some innovative offense from these guys. I'm expecting EJ to throw Lee around. I'm expecting Lee to jump off of EJ's shoulders. I'm expecting some power and speed combos. I love a good tag team that wants to be a tag team. And I think ROH did a start and stop push with Lee Johnson way too many times. So I think he's just excited to get started on something new that could carry over to AEW TV. And I think EJ's just been waiting for any company to really use him on television. And so I think this is the opportunity. This is the shot for both of them. And it's a good shot. It's a good opportunity. I did mention, speaking of the tag division, a reason why I think EJ and Lee can find their way competing for the tag team titles, if not becoming tag team champions sooner than later. The infantry, something's going on with these guys. The ROH has chosen to tell a story without really telling the story yet, and I'm really a fan of it. I don't know where it's going yet. On AEW Dynamite yesterday, we actually saw the tease of Private Party potentially splitting up. I really hope we're not possibly headed in that direction here. I don't really think that's where we're going. It's kind of just something I'm a little paranoid about. Realistically, it seems this would probably just be the follow-up to what we saw last week, which is Shane Taylor Promotions, STP, trying to recruit these guys, telling these guys that what you've been doing hasn't been working and you need to change, and maybe you need to join me, and maybe I'm exactly what you need. So I think it was easier in the past for the infantry to turn down Shane Taylor and Shane Taylor Promotions, because while he was always right, and yes, they were not winning the big one, truth is they were winning everything else. Infantry was regularly on the winning side of tag team matches, even multi-team tag team matches. And it was only when they'd get their tag team title shot would, then you'd see them lose again. So I think it was easier for them to be like, listen, we doing okay. We've seen, this is a losing streak now. I want to say, I think this is 3 in a row. Yeah, like I think they lost. Like this is not what we've been used to from the infantry. I was kind of hoping they would follow up on it tonight. And I do like them stringing it along, but ROH doesn't always follow up week to week. So sometimes I just want it all in the night. I really would have appreciated like backstage, just the shot of Trish Adora consoling the infantry and Shane Taylor Promotions really once again, kind of another pitch. And yes, in my mind, it was 3 in a row because they lost to the Outrunners, then lost to STP, and now here they are losing to Gates of Agony. It's so funny because when I saw this match announced, I was like, okay, this match is going to serve as a big win for the infantry because Gates of Agony are just always a reputable team. They're always a good, strong team. So I'm like, this will get infantry back on track. And it wasn't until the entrances that I was like, oh, wait a minute, no. Because and credit to the members of Gates of Agony because they in their entrance, like he literally looks at the camera and says, "Are we undefeated?" Turns to his partner, "Are we undefeated?" And then, sure enough, right under them, as they're saying this, is the ticker saying Gates of Agony 14-0 in Ring of Honor. And so I'm like, oh shit, these guys are undefeated. Oh shit, these guys can easily be set to take over the tag division. Now, the only con over there is that Gates of Agony we never see them on ROH TV. My guess is we're going to see them a little more now that Brian Cage is with Don Callis, because theoretically you might assume Brian Cage gets more ADW TV time, gets a little ROH time, a little less ROH time, but that means he's teaming with Gates of Agony less. So now Gates of Agony will kind of all of a sudden be thrust out in there, which I'm a fan of. These guys are really good, really hard hitting. They connect with every audience they're in front of. Gates of Agony are a real deal tag team. And I really wouldn't mind if they were the team to take the titles off of Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes. But yeah, I really think that Gates of Agony are a team to watch out for, and whatever is going on with the infantry is also something to keep our eyes on. Like I said, I would have liked SDP to follow it up with a pitch tonight, or maybe even someone like Stokely Hathaway. We've been seeing him running around looking for new clients, looking for somebody to let him manage him and not leave him in a week or two, like we saw Chris Statlander do. Rocky Romero defeating Brandon Cutler. This was a fun match. And this was one of those fun matches for the crowd as was for us. Crowd always is going to pop for Rocky Romero. Speaking of pop, quick backtrack. EJ got a big pop. And the only real thing I can come up with to explain it is that EJ really does have that it factor. EJ's got that wow factor. He walks into a room and he commands it. He has that. He has that swag. He has that aura, as they say. So, yeah, EJ got a big pop tonight that really got my attention. And another reason I'm excited for EJ and Lita being the tag team. But Rocky Romero also got a nice big pop, as he does from every audience he's in front of. And then Brandon Cutler comes out to cut a silly heel promo on Rocky. I'm a fan of Cutler. I'm a fan of his comedy. I'm a fan of his silliness. So yeah, I enjoyed this one. Nothing too much to write home about. This is what it is. This is exactly what you expect from these guys. Brandon Cutler is the comedy act that you're not really supposed to take too serious. Anytime he gets an advantage, he's just going to ham up to the crowd. And of course, that's going to cost him. And Rocky Romero is always just a treat to see. So yeah, these are the type of matches that I don't mind seeing at all. And I'll take them. I'll take them all the time. I will also take the segment we got from Athena, the Forever ROH Championship celebration. I'm not gonna lie, this could have closed the show for me. I am happy that the ROH TV Championship did close, because I do feel like that's the most important match of the night, and arguably the most important thing to happen of the night. And especially if you do want to sell the at-home audience that there might just be an ROH title change on ROH TV, then yeah, you go ahead and you make it the main event. So I definitely appreciate that being the main event. However, would not have complained at all if this closed the show. This was done great, and it did take us where we thought it would, which is, of course, Athena being upset that Ja Rule didn't make it. The second they announced Ja Rule, I was like, oh man, she is in for a disappointment. Ja Rule has a gig tonight. I know that for a fact. Not going to work out. For the record, I would have popped so hard if Lexi had like a Ja Rule life-size cutout, or like a Ja Rule impersonator would have been great. What would I be without you? That would have been awesome. But nonetheless, Athena's very disappointed in the dancers that they got. The dancers were horrible. When they were announced as the Minion dancers, I was actually excited because I thought maybe we'd get like a little America's Best Dance Crew action going. But no, they were awful, awful, awful dancers. But this, of course, leads to Athena just letting everyone have it. Well, actually, no, not everyone. She lets it all out, but she really lets only one person have it, and that's Billy, because everything's Billy's fault. And Billy has finally had it. Billy is done. She doesn't attack Athena. We don't get a big blow up. She's just done. And Billy leaves. And this is it, it seems. Billy Starks is done. Lexi surprises ROH with the old, Athena with the old ROH Women's Championship, but, and a cake. But yeah, the big highlight, Billy Starks leaving. What do we think this means? I like it. I kind of like, because once again, if Billy's going to be the person who actually does end Athena's reign, and Athena has to get past Abaddon first, it'd be great for Athena to deal with Abaddon without Billy. Or maybe just a couple weeks of dealing with Abaddon without Billy is enough to make her to go back to Billy. There's just a lot more story to tell. So I like that you can tell this isn't the end, right? There's still more to come. And Athena it seemed very angry, like almost to the point where she's like, come back, where it's almost like that's so close to her finally realizing she misses her, right? Like she's right there. She can easily get there. So I'm very curious if that's where we go with it. But of course, I'm also curious what the fuck happened to Lexi, because Abaddon's music hits, and it's so funny. As soon as I noticed that, like, the chain is like, it looks like it's like kind of just limp hanging down, I'm kind of like, oh, Lexi's gone. And I thought it was just going to be Lexi being gone. Like, I thought Athena was just going to get out of the ring and there was going to be nobody on the other end. And I was going to be like, oh my God, where's Lexi? What did Abaddon do to Lexi? And we still kind of had that. But instead, this time, Abaddon's on the other end of it. My favorite fucking line of the night was Caprice going, what did Abaddon do to Lexi? Or was Abaddon Lexi the entire time? Like, Abaddon was somehow Lexi the entire time and morphed herself back into Abaddon. Is that what we're dealing with here? Because I didn't realize. I knew Abaddon kind of had a supernatural vibe to her, but I don't think I ever realized that was what she was capable of. So that line had me, it popped me hard. That was so funny. This segment, though, I really can't say enough about this segment. This is like an old school segment where, you know, they just give the ladies time and they're like, hey, do your thing. You've got the crowd. You know what you're going to do. And Athena really does. She's been doing so much for this division, for this show. I mean, ROH really doesn't do a good job of committing to giving fans a must-see reason to tune in every week. Athena's really the only one that, like, every week you put her on the show, everything she does is to make you sorry that you missed ROH TV that particular Thursday. She's just so fucking good. And I really do wonder what the hell happened to Lexi. But Abaddon getting the best of Athena. And my favorite, this is like the first time I think I've heard Abaddon speak. Abaddon's walking to the back, and the fan's like, "How was that cake?" Abaddon goes, "It fucking sucked. It was bad." I'm really looking forward to them eventually announcing this match. Athena's done a fantastic job of selling the Abaddon effect up until now. Done a fantastic job of selling that the worst thing that can possibly happen is somebody telling her she has to defend her title against Abaddon. Abaddon is clearly in Athena's head. Athena is shooketh, and Athena no longer has Billy to push around, but also doesn't have Billy to hide behind anymore. Billy was very useful. Billy was the real reason behind Athena's last title defense. So successful title defense. So it'll be very interesting to see what Athena does without her star pupil, Billy Starks. On to the main event. And once again, a thank you to the guys, to all of you who were watching along with me. I do enjoy watching part of that main event with you guys. That's always fun. But let's talk about this. Listen, guys, this was an awesome match, but I got to start off with the negative. The negative is this match should not have happened yet. We just watched Komander become #1 contender last week. I love #1 contender matches but not just because it's a creative way to decide a #1 contender, or just because it's a creative way to make a match bigger than it should be. It's because it sets you up for like a match you want to watch. You get excited about it, and you can promote that match and lead up to it. So Komander's the #1 contender. We also saw our former champion, who just lost the title to Brian Cage, it's Atlantis Jr., say, "I want my title back" last week after the win he had. So I would have preferred Atlantis get the rematch right here, right now. Let Brian Cage and him be the first Brian Cage title defense. Let it be the rematch. Get that out of the way. And then after Brian Cage would take down that luchador again, boom, Komander and him can start promoting that match. Instead, we just saw Brian Cage beat Atlantis. Now we saw Brian Cage beat Komander. They're going to just build to him beating Atlantis again. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it would have been way more exciting, and it would have given them something to play with had they had this match on the back burner waiting for us, and let Brian Cage face Atlantis. Or really, ROH is a stacked roster of people that would have great TV matches with Brian Cage. They literally could have thrown anyone at him, and I hope they do. Brian Cage really is the perfect person to be ROH TV champion, as long as you keep putting him on ROH TV. Like, get him in there every single week. Put him against anyone you want. Rocky Romero would be a fantastic person. I was talking earlier how everyone gets excited to see him. Put Rocky Romero against Brian Cage for the ROH TV championship. That's a great match. I'd love to see it. That can main event. Brian Cage is the machine. So really, like, and I love that about Brian Cage too, because he is a heel. He's with the Don Callis family, but we're not going to see him really have to go super heel in the cheating way. He'll go super heel in his brutality and the fact that he doesn't care what you think. He's going to stomp this man's face in, but he'll shake their hand beforehand and after. Might be limp, but he's going to shake your hand. There's no reason for him not to administer the code of honor. He fears nobody. He's the machine. And he can do things that no man can do. So the ROH TV championship reign of Cage has me very excited. And honestly, this match goes a long way. These guys were fire. And listen, if the goal is just to have Brian Cage's first title defense be against someone who could have a fire match with him, then sure, Komander was a fantastic choice. But as I've told you guys week in, week out, unfortunately, ROH has programmed us all to know that ROH TV is not the home of ROH title changes. Nope. AEW Dynamite, yes. AEW or ROH pay-per-views, yes. AEW Collision, maybe. But ROH TV, never. So for somebody to get us thinking, can this still happen, they really have to go above and beyond. And honestly, Komander did. Komander threw out all the spots and hit that tightrope shooting star, which is so fucking pretty. Brian Cage looked real cool with the rollout kick out. Kind of another play on the Mark Henry sell, as he says, the Mark Henry spot. But yeah, this was a fun title defense for Brian Cage. Glad that it main evented. Glad that it main evented. It's kind of a typical ROH move that they would just have this open for no goddamn reason. So I'm glad that they treated him like a star and this match the way it should be treated. If ROH really is serious about an ROH TV deal, I can't imagine that making guys like Chris Jericho your champion would be all they would have to do, especially if that guy's not on ROH. If you're at pitch meetings, aren't these people gonna be like, okay, somebody bring me the last 4 editions of ROH TV and let me see what you're gonna do? Are they really in the meeting saying, listen, we're going to completely change. You're going to get a completely different show if you give us a TV deal. Is that real? Because, and I don't really have complaints about tonight's show. Good show. But this type of show isn't going to get a TV deal. This ROH television has become mostly enhancement matches. And as I said, there's been zero sense of can't miss TV because even if you have big title matches, you don't actually have big title matches because you never have title changes. So it kind of makes me wonder if those rumors are even true. And maybe we'll see more. Jericho can't hold that ROH title for too long. I mean, let's face it, he's not showing up on ROH TV unless, of course, that's the draw. They're like, listen, if you give us a TV deal, we'll put him on TV the first night. He's the main event. And maybe he drops the title to somebody. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I mean, that rumor spreading does excite me because if they do get a TV deal, which I really hope they do, this show will have to change. It'll have to get taken more seriously. It'll probably be treated on the same lines, if not even a little bit more than they do AEW Collision, AEW Rampage. And they do treat those shows like they're special. And they do have title changes. And they do have storyline. And it does kind of, it's not like ROH where kind of this stuff just happens on ROH land. And every week doesn't really have to connect to the last week. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds for ROH if Tony Khan is in fact serious about making a priority like he says he is. Guys, Danielle was trapped in captivity tonight. Once again, I'm really hoping that we get her rescued and she comes back to us next week. You guys are the best. We're always trying to be like you. Never forget, guys. I'm not just a smart mark. I'm a heel mark. See you next week.